Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. It's your girl, Miss Ina, coming out with return to podcast right here from Mobile, Alabama. Super duper excited as per usual to have Bree in the building with us today. What's up, Bree? I'm gonna tell you some more about Bree in just a minute. Before I get started, let me go ahead and give you our medical and psychiatric disclaimers. I'm not here to give you any type of advice tonight as far as medical or you never know. If they have any type of those emergencies, contact your primary care provider, the psychiatric provider, or the secondary emergency. I am not your provider tonight. So tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about single parenting, and Brian's going to be talking about it from a young adult right now standpoint, and then I've got a little experience with it myself. So we'll get into some of that too. But I also want to talk about some developing a relationship with Christ in young adulthood. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. So let's start with parenting first. Bree tell me about yourself.
Oh, I'm a mom and a makeup artist and also a content creator.
And also a content, yeah, because I'm gonna take your next content creator class.
Okay.
Yes. And you also do makeup classes too. So if you're looking for somebody to teach you how to do your own makeup, so how can they find you? Tell me about your website.
Or you can bring part, but you can contact me at the Olivia B or Olivia B Beauty Bar on Instagram or Facebook.
And get yourself booked. Okay. All right. So let's start off with single parenting. First, no. Let's start off with first because I'll always brag on you because you are a young entrepreneur. Brie and I met because she is actually my baby girl Treasure's friend.
Mm-hmm.
You guys were in AQB together, just kind of stuck together since then. And so you started doing makeup for money at what age? 16 years old, and you still doing it. Actually went to school. Okay, so you didn't you were determined and you did make it your career. I did see your post on Facebook today. So recently, how long ago you went and you started working in a suite?
About a year ago. Okay. June 1st, 2023.
Now, was that before or after you learned that you were having baby Zaya?
After.
That was after. Okay. So how was that transition from, because first you were doing it like you had your own studios. It was a nice studio too at your house, and then you transitioned into a suite. First of all, what led you to decide I don't want to do it in here anymore, I'm ready to go and move into a suite?
Me having a baby, I didn't want people in and out the house. That was really the reason.
It was that the reason?
Yeah. So, and I think it was, I really wanted to have a suite ever since I started. And that was like the trend at the time.
That was the trend at the time. And so you announced today that you had actually moved out of the suite. So how do you feel about that?
I'm at peace with it. It's on to the next chapter.
On to the next chapter, right? Because God always has a plan, and it doesn't always line up with ours. But not just saying that. Sometimes He just has that plan laid out for this amount of time, and we just try to extend it and extend it and extend it. So there will be some people, that will say, oh, well, she jumped out ahead of time and she said God told her to do it, but she ain't there no more. But sometimes, like we always say, God has things for you to do for a particular amount of time, for a specific season. And when you know that, you said you're at what? Peace. Tell them again.
I'm at peace, y'all.
There you go. All right. So young entrepreneur does very well, can beat a face. Oh, you also do lashes?
No.
You don't do lashes anymore?
I left that in 23.
You left that in 23?
Yep.
So that, at one point, weren't you thinking about going back to do skincare?
Cosmetology. And I will be going back.
You going back to school?
Yeah.
Okay. I tell you love school more than you love working.
I do.
She loves going to school. All right, so you go back to cosmetology school. When did you have Zaya?
November 11th, 2023.
So how has it been? And you let me know if I ask a question you don't want to answer. You don't have to answer it. How has it been being a single parent? Tell them how old you are.
21.
Y'all take the opportunity to like, comment, follow, share all of that because we need to reach as many young adult, single parents, young adults, period, who don't have any children today. Okay. So if you've never shared before, please take this opportunity, tag somebody, mention somebody under, however you can get somebody on here that needs to see this. Tell me how single parenting has been as a 21-year-old.
Honestly, I don't like to look at it as a single parent because it's like a victim thing. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't want to be called that.
Okay.
Even though that's the reality, but I won't be one forever. But
But right now,
it's pretty cool. I have my family, so I think that's why I really don't feel like it's a single mom because my parents there, her dad there, so it's just like we just all
so you have a good support system.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
How hard do you think it would be if you did not have a support system?
Yeah. It'd be a little hard.
It'd be a little hard. So if you hindsight being 2020, we all know that Zaya is a blessing. Um, Hindsight being 2020, would you still have had her at this time, or do you feel like it would have been easier for you had you have waited to have her?
I wouldn't say it would have been easier, but I just would have waited.
Why?
Because I wanted to ring their house at the family.
So it's just the marriage part of it is why you would have waited. Okay, that means you have a very, very good support system. and thank you, Mama. We got Mama in the building over here today too. And my mom was great as well. My parents were great when I had Shemaya. I had Shemaya got pregnant with Shemaya at 18 years old, and I had her at 19 years old. So we definitely grew up. We grew up together. Now, kudos to you. Said Dad is present and he's helpful and supportive. Yeah, that's a blessing. You have no idea how much of a blessing that is. Shemaya's father, he was not there. I tell anybody, I was one of those, something was missing up here. So I got pregnant on purpose at 18 years old because he said he wanted a baby. And I grew up, with some trauma. And so I wanted this child to be able to protect. And in my mind, I could protect this child from something that my parents weren't able to protect me from. And so I told you, y'all, I'm sorry, I'm having some sinus issues over here. Talk.
So yeah, if you're a single mom, just know you got it. God got you, girl. Stay sticking God.
Tell them, y'all, I'm so sorry. I'm about to start crying. My eyes are watering. So, give me just a minute, y'all. Water. Thank you. So, Shemaya and I grew up together, I was saying, and Dad wasn't there. And one of the reasons why I chose to do this topic today was because somebody had posted on Facebook about dads not being there. And what was the post that person had made? About dads not being there for their sons or something like that. Yeah. Okay. And so it got a lot of shares and a lot of comments. And so somebody reached out to me and said, this needs to be your next topic. And here we are. However, they wanted the topic to be deadbeat daddies. So I had to clean it up a little bit because that's not what we're here to do. We just wanted to talk about the difficulties associated with being a single parent. Now, you have a good support system, so you don't really have to deal with that. But there are a lot of people, especially, young people who have babies with fathers who are still young and are really not ready to parent. And so that can be very difficult. Or sometimes you get in a relationship with somebody, and as long as you are together, they're a good parent. Okay. And then when you're not together anymore, they choose not to parent. anymore. They're not there. So I wanted to talk some more. Whew, I wanted to talk some more about that too. But now, are you and your daughter's father together?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. And throughout the pregnancy, were you together?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay. Okay. But you are a good. So you co-parenting,
Mhm.
and he has a supportive family as well.
Mhm.
All right. Um. So tell everybody else how important it is to develop a relationship with Zaya's dad's family, because like when you co-parenting, you actually are like conjoining two different families.
Mhm.
Yeah. So how's that?
It's pretty cool, you know. I wouldn't say I'm the best at it yet because I'm a little shy and I don't really do strangers.
You don't really do strangers.
Mm-mm. But I try. We just keep it cordial and don't get too much in our business, each other's business or whatever. But you don't really talk
Cause
like
y'all
that.
are, yeah, cause y'all not really y'all not really strangers. Like that's Zaya's family, right? And so you trust your child to go over there. So you might want to get to know these
I
people.
pray.
You just pray.
I pray hard, real hard.
I did. Shemaya's aunt and I, we still call each other sisters today. Kim and I were very close. And Ebony, Shemaya was born in January, and Ebony was born in April. And so they grew up. You know, they're cousins, but they grew up like sisters because they were always together. And so she was always very supportive, and I had very supportive parents. So even though Shemaya's dad was not, present, at one point he was in prison. Um, so even though he wasn't present, I still did have some family members. Um, I was able to go to school for a little while without Shemaya. Then my mother was like, "Yeah." I came home one day, stayed for a week, and I was getting ready to go, and she had all Shemaya's stuff packed for me to take back with me to Montgomery, and I was scared. I'm like, "You really gonna make me take her?" She's like, "That's really your baby." So she made me take it back. I had to go. I had to miss class that Monday and go find daycare, get everything set up. So it was difficult, and I didn't stay. I didn't stay in Montgomery long after that because it was rough. So I just came on home. Yeah, it was hard being a single parent up there. It was a lot easier here. Um, so any other advice you want to give to young people about being a single parent? Because I mean, I know you have a supportive family, but no, who keeps the baby in the day?
Me.
Because you are a makeup artist. Because I see
Mhm.
your content, and sometimes I see Zaya right here, while you're doing makeup, and so that's worked out well for you too.
I would just say if you're a single mom and working with the dad, well, co-parenting with the dad, I would say keep a healthy communication because it could get rough. Just stay in your lane. Just stay in your lane.
How does she go spend the night with
Hmm?
him? Right? How old was she the first time?
2, 3.
3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, me and Shemaya's father got into it because she was like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and he was like, "I'm gonna, that's my baby. See, you're not coming to get her." And then I was calling mama, and she was like, you're not coming to get her." And then he asked my mom, "Well, how's she supposed to be when I can come get her?" And my mama said, "When she can talk." So he even told the judge that when he went to because he did try to get visitation. So he took me to court for visitation and told the judge, what my mama said, and tried to get the child support lowered and all that kind of stuff. And then he picked her up 2 Saturdays, and we ain't seen her since on a Saturday. So he went through all of that. So yeah, it can be hard. So I ended up having to miss work because he did not show up. And I'll tell you another thing, because I'm the one with the you ain't really have no real experience with single parenting, but I'm gonna give you some real experiences about it. I'll tell you about the times when my child was sitting there with her bags, ready for her dad to come pick her up, and he never showed up. Okay, that led to some abandonment issues. So I would definitely say if there's any guys out there, if you're not gonna go and pick them up, don't tell them that you're gonna go and pick them up. Just don't just don't say anything. But don't have a child sitting there waiting for you and then you don't show up. And it happens way too much. Don't promise a child that you're gonna buy them something if you're really not gonna buy it. Like I'd rather you just surprise them than to do that. So you do have to be careful because you think these little people don't get disappointed, but these little people grow into adult people, and a lot of times they take that trauma with them into adulthood. And then I'll say, as and I've talked about this before, like as far as me being a mom who did not get along with Shemaya's father, adult, almost 50-year-old Trish, I would not have let her see and hear as much of the negative stuff that she heard.
Mhm.
I never knew it bothered her until a few years ago when she actually told me that it did bother her for me to talk about her dad in front of
Mhm.
her. So I would tell you moms that too. Don't talk about, and don't let money for sure be the reason why your child is not seeing their dad. If you got a dad and he is not, if he is or is not financially able to contribute to that child, but he's a good dad and he spends time with that child, I would say let him spend time with that child. And then you do what you need to do financially for the child. The kids figured out later, trust me, but it makes for a healthier relationship and a healthier person and individual for that child than it does for you to constantly put negative thoughts in their minds about their dad, and then also to keep them away because kids do yearn. They do yearn and they see other people with their dads, right?
Mhm.
Did you grow up in the home with your dad? Do you mind me asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
You have a good relationship with your daddy.
Yeah. I love my dad.
Yeah. Most girls do. Most girls do. Daddy, daughter, I listen. I miss my daddy. I miss my daddy every single day. And he wasn't perfect. He wasn't perfect. He worked a lot, like all the time. Definitely a good provider. He loved me. You know, I tell everybody he's he has the one man that I've been in a relationship that has absolutely never called me out of my name. Absolutely always loved me for who I was, despite of who I was. That is definitely that first father, that first man in your life is going to be your dad.
Mhm.
So that also means you need to choose wisely when you're picking out these dads that are going to be that first man in your children's lives too, right? Yeah. Um, they used to say, and people don't do it. They used to say like, do background checks and checking the family. But I do think you should. Like before how many more babies you want to have?
Mhm. One more.
One more, girl or boy? It doesn't matter.
Boy.
And what do you think you'll do differently, other than wanting to be married? What do you think you'll do differently before you have another one?
Talk to God about it. If you say no, no. Because I didn't listen before. I'm not doing it again.
So he told you before? And nuts. What you mean?
He basically warned me what was going to happen, and I just kept doing whatever I wanted to do. And long story short, I ended up pregnant and single too.
So let's get into that. Let's get into breathe then versus breathe now. Other topic we were going to talk about today was going to be developing a relationship with Christ at an early age. So tell me a little bit about the wilder side of Bree before Zaya.
Just know she's not perfect. She's done a few things.
You can't get on here and be shy now, Bree.
Very bad.
Because you've been talking about it and talking about it, and you've been posting it in your content. So don't get on here and be shy and tell people what they want to know.
So basically, I used to party, drink, just about every single day.
Well,
But it really started happening when I was in like a weird relationship. We ended up breaking up, and I turned up.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I met Zaya's dad, and then still was partying, drinking, blacked out, dragged out the club.
Really? Lord Jesus.
Yep, dragged out the club. Like it was real bad.
Dragged out the club. Wait a minute. Dragged out the club by your friends to get you in a car, or like a
security.
fight?
No. We don't fight. No.
Okay, well, explain to me.
But it was like security. Like one night, I ended up.
It's I don't listen.
No, but
some nights that almost happens to me now. So listen, no, I'm just playing. But anyway,
basically, my last night drinking, which I already knew I was going to stop drinking around this time, and Holy Spirit told me not to go out that day, but I ended up going out. Got towed up. It was like my third time drinking in 2023, and it was in March. I got towed up. Next thing you know, I'm on the side of the road with my thumb out.
And
somebody to pick me up.
Who drove you to where you got?
Just some people I was with.
And they left you?
Kinda, in a way.
First of all, that's a girl code. We come together, we leave together.
Yeah.
You do not leave your friends behind in the club. I don't care if you got to call their mamas because they won't act right, their daddies. I don't care if you got to call the police if they won't act right. You do not leave your friends behind in the club. That is the girl code. Go ahead. So you was on the side.
Yeah. It was bad.
So who picked you up? And where was your phone?
So my phone was dead. My Apple Watch was dead. Everything was dead.
Except Christ. Because he lives.
Yeah. But I realized I was so drunk. I realized I was walking. I realized I was walking when the sun came up.
How long has you been walking?
Since like 3:00 in the morning.
So
it was
the
bad.
sun came
I
up?
was walking till the sun came. It was like daylight by the time I got there. That's when I started.
You walked all the way home?
Oh no, I thought I was going home. I was going the opposite way.
You don't even know which way you was going? Are you serious?
It was bad. It was real bad.
Great.
Yo,
Mama, you knew this whole story?
She know. I told her.
Wow. There by the grace of God.
But yeah, it was this random man picked me up in this raggedy car. I never forget him. And he was
you
like,
got in the
"What you
car
doing?"
with somebody?
I asked for his ID. I thought I was doing something, but I was drunk. I still remember.
You were still drunk when the sun came up.
Yeah, that's how bad it was.
So he put you in the car and did what?
Took me to my car. I still don't know how I told him where my car was. I can't even tell you how I told him. I just know I fell asleep. By the time I got there, he was like, "You're here," and I got in my car.
And then you drove home, still intoxicated.
No, he put gas in my car.
Oh, wow.
He put gas in my car and I drove off before he got to his car because I ain't want him to follow me.
So you found a stranger.
Yeah.
Stranger, if you watching,
shout out.
He's a black man, white man, Chinese man.
He was a black man with a beard. And he had dreads. I never forget him.
That's like an angel, right? Goodness gracious. If black man with the beard and the dreads, if you are out there, thank you. And reach out because Bree wants to be able to tell you thank you. You know?
I told him thank you somehow.
She wants to
I had his number somehow. I texted him, told him thank you, and I blocked it up. So
you scared of the man that helped you? You should be, you know. But it was a really nice thing, though.
His car was scary. Yeah, scary enough. It was rusty.
It was rusty, but it got you where you needed to go.
It did.
And that was the last night you drank?
Yeah, I'm done. I ain't picked up no more.
Okay.
But I really stopped though. It's because the next Monday I was riding to school and Holy Spirit told me, if you keep drinking, you're gonna die from this. I said, I quit. I'm done. That's when I really stopped.
It's dangerous. You've helped me pray a few times for your friend. You know, she likes to drink too. So I worried about y'all. I worried about y'all a lot. Mama, did you have any sleepless nights, Mama? A lot of sleepless nights worried about these kids out here. You know, seemingly just wanting to have a good time, but just kind of not understanding the consequences that go along with the type of good time that they are trying to have. But apparently you're supposed to be here. Mm-hmm. What's your purpose? What do you think? What do you know?
I think it has something to do with inspiring women in a way, helping them to get over whatever they've been through, heal from it. I think that has a little to do with it.
You grew up in the church
Mm-hmm.
all your life. You used to be on the praise team. I remember you telling me that.
Yep.
Okay. What's the difference in that in growing up in the church, Bree, and now your relationship? How did you develop and become so close and so free and so open and so willing to, spread the word about the goodness of Jesus?
I've always been that way, but I used to get called the holy girl. I think that's what really started the party thing. Because everybody say, you're such holy, you're so holy. If anybody call you that, just stick to it. Maybe they want to be over there with you, honestly. But anyways, no, they used to call me the holy girl. So when I graduated high school, I was like, I'm going to show y'all. I'm holy and I can party. So that's what really started.
You're so silly.
That
So
was
that's
the
really
bad
so you were trying to prove a point.
I was. And I'm like, Brie, that's not you. You don't care. But I did at that time. I did. No, but I always grew up in church. So it was like a routine when I was growing up. We always had praises. Church on Wednesday. Sunday we going to church. Friday I went to church with my grandma. So it was a routine. And I was like, okay. Hey,
And sometimes when you're young, sometimes even now for adults, that's all it is. It's just a routine of going to church. But I mean, it's just so obvious watching your journey, talking to you, sitting with you, that it's not just a routine for you anymore. So how, was it after you had Zaya? Was it when you got pregnant with Zaya? How did you tell, like anybody else wanting, especially young people wanting to, get closer to Christ? Because I tell people all the time, like of all the things that I've ever experienced, of all the good times, of all the great feelings, and I've had some great feelings, but I can't describe the feeling of, being connected to God. And I can tell, like I'm honest right now. I know that even right now, I feel very disconnected, and like it's an uncomfortable place for me. So tell people or young people, like, how did you develop a relationship? Because everybody didn't grow up in the church, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like, what advice would you have, and do you want to invite them to church? You want to tell them where you go to church?
So basically, when I realized the party wasn't working and them emotions still was there after I left the club, I was like, yeah, we got to go a little deeper. This is not going to work. I'm like, these drinks ain't doing it for me. This music definitely ain't doing it for me. So I was just like, we got to go deeper. And I go the right way. So they live the right way. They're not perfect, but, they're very close. So they actually live what they're preaching. Like, it's not just a facade. Like, they live it. So I was like, let me get around them. So I started getting around them, and my heart just started shifting. Like, I just wanted more and more and more. So I joined Freedom. That's what really started. Freedom at my church is our group, a small group. It's a small group, and that really opened my eyes in a way. I still was in the world, what I'm saying? But after I had Zaya, I was like, Zaya cannot see me the way I used to act. I do not want to be a mom all over the place. So that's when the light switch came off, and it was like, Bree, get it together. So now I'm in my word, I read my Bible. I'm not a Bible scholar, but I do my best. Yeah. I just wanted more than just the drinking and the temporary, what you call it?
Temporary fix, temporary high.
Yeah, temporary, like the lust and all
Pleasure.
that. That ain't. Because what about, what I'm saying? Jesus can only bring you this much peace, nothing else. And if you think you can, you're crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy.
All right. So what nights did you say y'all have church at Right Way?
We have first Thursday this Thursday. Guess you there. And we have Sunday. Yeah, the topics is relationships this Thursday. Well, actually, the rest of the month in May, ain't it? Oh, it's questions. Oh, I'm not on the news.
So speaking of relationships, are you in a relationship right now?
No. We focus on Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Now I'm really focused on my purpose, Zaya, and Jesus.
Okay.
To my man.
So just in case somebody is interested, you're not looking, because and sometimes being in a relationship, a lot of times being in a relationship can definitely be a distraction when you are trying to work on your purpose, work on a new career, raising a new baby, it can be a lot.
If God tell me focus on that young gentleman, then I will. Right now,
Not interested.
mm-mm.
Okay. And so nothing would ever. No, I'm not even gonna ask. I'm not gonna ask that question at all. Why were you? Why would you even think about asking that question on live TV? I'll ask you later. I'll ask you later.
Now I want to know what you mean.
Um.
What you want to say?
All right. So we talked about developing a relationship with Christ, and well, tell me how hard is it? Because a lot of people make it appear very difficult. And if I'm being honest, even as an adult, a lot of people can make having a like walking in Christ look undesirable. You know, they make it look not fun, like make somebody just totally not be interested because it looks just so stringent and you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere, you can't wear anything. So, to the people who may be thinking that way because of what they see, how have you ever felt like it was hard to have a relationship with Christ and live the right way? I mean, because we ain't perfect, you know. We all still going fall off. We still going, you know. As hard as you working on perfection, you still gonna have some times when we all fall short. You agree or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
I try not to.
I know you try not to. We all try not to. We all try not to, right? Um, but we all die daily,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay. So, how hard is it?
For me, I don't really think it's hard. I think it's because the people I'm surrounded by is kind of hard. I mean, kind of, it is easy for me to just
Stay
stay
focused.
focused. But it's really be, I think it really be the people around you and
So,
your desires. Like if you want the world, you gonna get there.
so then let's talk about that. Let's talk about surroundings, because the people that you hang around definitely make a difference in everything that you do. Plays a toll on you. Pays a toll on you mentally. Pays a toll or plays a toll. Takes a toll. Takes a toll on you mentally. When you're not around, you know, a certain. Whenever I talk about this, I always start to get uncomfortable because I don't ever want to hurt anybody's feelings. But like different people, I do believe are meant for a certain season in your life, and we do sometimes outgrow people,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, have you ever have you had to distance yourself from anybody that was close to you before, and how hard was that?
It do get a little hard.
It gets a little
Yeah,
hard.
I'm like, we just best friends. But I really feel like when you're so headstrong on walking with God, it makes people uncomfortable. So it's like they're gonna push themselves away. So it's like, but they need to be like, where you going? We would just go. Like, what you doing? It's a little heartbreaking.
So you feel like you lost some people when you decided
Definitely
to.
have.
Mhm. And sometimes being a parent can do that too. Sometimes
Yeah.
people get. I know my friend Shakira, where she's married, and in her 40s she had a baby, and I had planned to do something, and I didn't call and invite her because she had the baby, and she was like, why didn't you send me an invite? And I was like, well, because you had the baby, and she was like, well, that doesn't mean that I don't want to go somewhere sometimes. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if I can't, like just make sure you still invite me, and it makes sense. But a lot of times, we just automatically think like, oh, well, she's married now and she has a baby now, so she's not going to want to go. But it is important, because you can. Because I always say, a shining light that no one can see serves the world no purpose. So your light don't necessarily just need to be shining in right way, right? Because you said everybody in right way is already living the right way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your light needs to be shining on the ones that ain't living the right way, I would argue. Like, is your purpose just for people who are already perfect and already are close to perfect, or is your purpose to bless people and help people that are far from perfect?
I really want to help people that's far from perfect, but I feel like people look at me, and I was just talking, like, I really feel like people look at me and put me on a pedestal. Like, I don't like it.
Me either.
don't like it makes me uncomfortable. It's like, why do you think like that?
It's uncomfortable. Is it? Tell them that again, because I try to tell people that all the
It's
time.
uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. I had somebody to tell me recently, because when I start to feel uncomfortable, my first thought is to let me get, me go in here and type up this little blog and let them know, don't put me on this pedestal, because that's not me. I fall short sometimes too. I do stuff, and sometimes it's not a mistake. Like sometimes I choose to do what I shouldn't be doing, and I'm always honest and transparent about that. So sometimes trying to do the right thing or telling people to do the right thing makes you feel like if they ever find out that I didn't do the right thing. So then it's almost like instead of doing the right thing because you're supposed to be, and because Christ told you to do the right thing, you're trying so hard and you're so uncomfortable because you don't want them, like you don't want to disappoint this world full of people out there that have you on this pedestal. But we're all human, right? We all still bleed red. And so that is I get it. It's definitely I can't. I tell people all the time. I think I'm gonna stop blogging. I think I'm gonna stop doing a podcast or stop doing it as much, because sometimes, if I go, I still go out. I still party. And I feel like, oh, I was just saying this the other day, and now they're gonna have something to say about this. So I'm still getting comfortable with, um, when I chose to stop judging people, it seems like people started judging me more. You know, when all I want to do is just be responsible for me. But at the same time, I can't just get on here, and I'm very careful when it comes to blogging or podcasting, very careful to try to be responsible, because I know I do have people who have me on this pedestal, right? And I don't ever want to disappoint those people. But still, at the end of the day, I have a responsibility to tell you the truth, but I don't have a responsibility for the choices that you make once I've told you the truth. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be my advice to you: is just be you, be the best breed that you can be, and be that way because it's the way you choose to be, and because it's the purpose that you have, not because you're trying to prove a point or trying to not disappoint. I mean, has mom ever disappointed you before?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Unless she get me a toy I want.
Oh, we've all been disappointed, but nobody gets everything that they want from like y'all, because you make like y'all just got this perfect family. I want to be a part of it because yeah, my dad has disappointed me before. My mom has disappointed me before. Maybe they haven't done anything to harm me, and or not maybe they've never done anything to harm me, and they've never done anything to hurt me. But there are some things that left me feeling disappointed. They were great parents, but they were not perfect parents. There were times when I would tell my dad, yes, you bought me everything I could have ever wanted, but you only took me to the movies about 3 times in my whole life. Because and I would tell my mom this, like, you took me shopping all the time and I had all the best clothes, but we really, didn't do things like go to the park together. You see what I'm saying? So those things were kind of disappointing to me, and I made sure I did those with my children because each generation is different. So that's what I mean. Not saying that they like maybe some people do have perfect parents. I know that I have not been a perfect parent. I could have done things a lot differently for all three of my children. And so I know I've shown them and given them some disappointments, but those are my children. Like, I am responsible for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, because now they're adults, so they're responsible to use the knowledge that I gave them to be adults and make their own decisions. But that's what I wanted to tell you. Like, yeah, don't just be true to you, and don't worry about at almost 50 years old. I just posted it this morning. Like, we have to get to the point to where we are less worried about the people that don't matter and be more worried about the one who guarantees that our name will be written in the Lamb's Book of Life. That is who is important, right? So don't worry about it.
I'm not.
Yeah, don't. And so, have you started to develop a different group of friends yet, or has that been difficult?
Yeah, I have more friends, but I feel like we're not as close because I'm a little shy. And I think it's because of the friends I've had. Like I feel like all of my friends have put me on a pedestal. And like, mm,
So, do you ever feel like, because I actually felt that way when I started nursing too. Um, there were certain things that I could not do anymore, certain places that I didn't go anymore when I started nursing. The nursing board is a whole nother monster. Like there is Jesus, and then there's the Alabama Board of Nursing. So yes, like you have to be very careful, and so I do feel like I was not as close to friends once I started nursing as I was before. And they would go places or do things, and I'm like, oh, why didn't you ask me to go? And then we just kind of drifted apart. Like we still stay in contact and hang out sometimes, but not like it was before. But then like most of the people I'm with now are all nurses, right? So when God places you in these new places, He's going to place you with a new group of people in those places. And so that's why I tell people, in order to meet people, you have to be social. You just have to be careful where you are being social. Like I tell my friends who are looking for relationships, like if you're looking for a certain caliber of gentleman, you also have to look at the place where you're looking for this caliber. If you know that, doctors and lawyers and such are not hanging out at this particular night spot, and that's what you're looking for, how are you going to find me there? Right? Yeah. So being in professional settings or hanging places where those types of people go, or even not just doctors and lawyers, but hard working men who may not hang out in those places, you got to put your place self where that type of people are. So you got to figure out what type of friends you're looking for, and that's for the settings that you have to be. If it's that you want all only church friends, well, in churches where you find them. I'm this is just my personal opinion. Now I'm just always saying. I just feel like um, a lot of the ministry of the church needs to come outside of the church if we expect the people outside to come in the church. And so that's why I just asked, like, what type of places that you are frequenting. I know it's hard too with the baby, but you got a whole big support
where I
system.
go to like business events and stuff,
Yeah, see?
I don't really go anywhere else. Or I might go to like girls' night out and stuff. I don't really.
No, but business networking events are perfect
Yeah,
because you
that's where I
are.
go.
Yeah, that's it.
But I'm shy. That's the thing. I don't talk.
Bree,
I don't know.
you really are not shy
I really
because
am.
my mouth be hurting every time I leave your house and get my makeup done. You talk the entire time.
I
So
don't
you
know.
really
With
not shy.
strangers, it just be like,
But that's like one of the big things about being a stylist is talking. Like you like the next step to your mom, like being a therapist. And you are an unlicensed therapist.
well, I talk when my clients come. Outside of them,
You talk a lot. I don't think you realize how much you talk, Bree.
I do. I know. But a lot of
And you
people don't
have
know
good
that.
conversations. You have very adult conversations. So networking events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Church
Duh.
and girls' night out. No, that's those are good social
Yeah,
events.
I be wanting to go other places, but it's like I don't really have friends, so it's just like I don't go to
Like what other type of places are you wanting to go to?
Like I want to go to Top Golf still. Maybe at this point, I'm taking myself.
Listen, it works. It works, and because you might meet somebody there at Top Golf, you know. Make
Mm-hmm.
sure you like when I take myself out, which is very frequently, I still dress up if I'm going out on a date because I'm taking myself on a date. So I'm still doing on my mic. Wait, I ain't gotta tell you this because you're gonna have your makeup and stuff on anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But you never know who you might meet at the top golf.
See, I take
No?
myself out, and people try to talk to me, and I just like, but I want to go somewhere with the ladies. Where's the ladies? Everybody want to be on top of tables,
At Top Golf,
bottles
on
on
top
their
of tables?
head. No, I'm just saying, like, that's what people do my age. I can't hang. People my age not doing it. I don't know where they mind be at.
Where your mom was a couple years
Like
ago.
a year ago. But it's like, I'm not there no more though. Like, come on.
Yeah, but I mean, we can't like, we can't be judgmental towards them because we got our lights got to shine on them. So hopefully they can see your good works and then they want to come in too because we all been there, right? Like you just said, some of the, as my pastor always says, some of my uh trauma has not been too far from the decisions that I made and the choices that we made. So we've all been there. You just happen to be blessed enough to come out of it sooner. Because, honey, I stayed out there a long time. So no, I'm definitely not telling you to go to the club and stand on tables, or that I'm not even suggesting that you go with them. I'm just saying, like, would you be willing to, like, have you reached out to any of them about just going to Top Golf? Because it sounds like you missed those relationships.
Yeah, I try.
They just
I
don't
just
want.
feel like
You being honest.
nobody wants to go.
Is it? Do you sure you just is this the way you're feeling? Because I have felt that way before myself. Like people didn't want to be bothered with me because I was, not the same anymore, or because I was married and they weren't married. So I felt that way before, but a lot of times they didn't feel that way. It was just me overthinking.
No,
Because they might actually be sitting there thinking the other way around.
Because I reach out. I'm the friend that do overboard. Like, I'm for the text you. Guess what happened today? I'm one of them. Yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay. Well, listen. Listen. I've had to go to therapy. I can honestly tell you, I have sat down in the therapist chair more times talking about my girl friendships than I have about my marriage. Cause girl friendships, like, uh, they're pretty serious. If you're really, really close to somebody, those relationships are pretty serious because you tell them stuff that you like. They have your deepest, darkest secrets, and you have their deepest, darkest secrets, and you spend all this time together. Yeah, like those relationships are hard to. It's like breaking up in the. It's a breakup when you don't communicate anymore, and sometimes you can feel lonely and left out or betrayed. Even sometimes like they're choosing somebody else over you. What happened? Did you talk? Did you ghost me? It's a lot. So
Giving trauma.
it is a traumatic experience. It is. It's a traumatic experience. But you live in house with there. It's not always good to talk to you. Do you have a therapist? You ever been to therapy before?
I don't even want to talk about that. She moved away.
My therapist, she decided to go have a grandbaby. Now I got to find a whole nother therapist. But it is hard when you develop a relationship with somebody. But there's somebody else out there. I got some contacts. Do you feel like you need to go see a therapist?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, I do. I do.
This is what you get right here sitting on the couch at Journey with Trish, the podcast. Okay. Okay. We're making giant leaps and bounds over here. I think it would be a great idea too. And not just to talk about everything. Talk about the friendships that you're coming off of, single parenting, the not too much, the future, but not a worry about the future. A future as far as we can see, as far as planning. It's always helpful to sit down and talk to somebody that's, non-biased. Get some stuff off your chest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. What else do we need to? I cannot stay here. I don't know if I'm going to menopause, child, or what. But I know these sinuses are killing me tonight. So we're not going to stay here. We're probably getting ready to wrap this up. Anything else we need to talk about tonight? We talked about single parenting.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about developing a relationship with Christ. We talked about friendships. We covered some stuff.
I just want to say I was not always a perfect friend.
Are you perfect now?
No, but I'm just saying
okay.
though, like I just did something, you know.
Because you keep throwing around that perfect word.
And a co-parenting person, I was always, but we're not really perfect, but you know, I wasn't always right in the head, you know.
Okay.
So,
Are you totally right in the head now? Or are you working on it?
I'm working on it.
Okay. Because we all have
See,
room
I
for
have a
improvement,
thing.
right? We all have room for improvement.
I have a thing. I think that I like compete with myself. I don't know.
Well, you are your biggest competition.
But it's like I go hard, like I'm the monster for myself. It's bad.
Also, explain, elaborate.
Like I go hard on me. Like nobody have to tell me nothing I don't know. Like I just be like, Brie, why did you do this? Like my pregnancy. Why did you do this? Why did you get pregnant? Y'all not even in a relationship. Like I just ate myself. Damn. Oh, that was bad. And I still gotta deal with it now, you know, because I talk about it. I catch myself talking about it a lot. But you know,
So what now makes you still sit down and think, Brie, why did you do this now? Like, what are those times? Because if we're gonna talk to these young people out there, you can't just give them all the, all the peaches and cream of it. Like, you got to tell them what is difficult about being a young parent. It cannot be that easy, even though you have a support. They're supportive, but come on, those nights when you waking up in the middle of the night with this baby crying in the first 3 months, couple months.
I think I used to watch a lot of married couples. I used to stay watching. I used to binge watch it. Like yeah. Like all the couples being married with the kids in a big house. Because I always had this plan of being this mother, this wife with this big house, you know, happy family thing. And that didn't happen. Because usually I plan my life and I set my goals and I accomplished them. That time I did it. And I felt like a big failure. I think I still do. But I'm not. Like, that's a thing. I feel like a big failure, though. And that ate me up for so long. I was, like, depressed for, like, months. I don't like the word depressed either, but I was very depressed about that. Like,
So was it a failure or was it something? It wasn't a consequence.
to me, it was a failure. To me.
I would argue that it was just a consequence.
No, I think it was a failure.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it was a consequence. It wasn't. Failure is such a harsh word, because things, I literally just told myself last week, I'm done planning. I am done planning because none of the plans I have made over the past month have really worked out the way they were supposed to. And I'm like, well, maybe you're just overthinking and over planning. But we do have, like, you got your business plan and you expect things. I just posted this on my blog this morning. You have to be, something has to not be right if you really think that every one of your plans are always going to come out the way you planned them.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to happen. Um, you may not be married when you have a baby. You may not ever get married, honestly, as bad as most of us would like to. Your marriage may not last forever, but who goes into a marriage planning to get a divorce, right? Um, your child may not end up going to college. They may end up going to technical school. So what? It worked out for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so we have these drink. I have never met anybody who said, oh, I'm going to have a baby and she's going to work at, McDonald's. And I'm not, trying to down anybody that works at McDonald's, but I'm just saying, when we have these children, we put these big hopes and these big dreams, ours usually, into those children. But just because they chose to go a different route than what we planned for them to go to doesn't make me a failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Your plan just didn't work out the way you planned it, but it does not mean you're a failure. Right? And you can't sit here like you're starting today, like Vicky, you need to journal. Are you journaling?
I kind of stopped.
Okay, I need you to journal. I need you to journal.
I journal sometimes.
Yeah,
It needs to be every day again.
Yeah, a part of me blogging is my journaling. I love journaling, but yeah, write down your thoughts, and your thoughts may, turn into a plan, but just remember, like, nothing is concrete. Nothing that you plan is ever going to be set in stone. It's a blessing when it works out, but we just like pick up, and sometimes you got to read. That's why they call them working plans, right? Yeah. Sometimes you got to tweak them. You got to go back and do this instead because this didn't work out this way. I can't tell you how many people have had house plans, and they go and they start building their houses and the walls go up. And they're like, this room is too small. I'm not going to be able to fit my furniture in this room. And so now they got the contractors in there tearing down the walls and reworking their house plans, right? Because nothing is set. We have this like visual in our minds of how we want things to turn out. But just because they don't, it doesn't make you a failure. Okay. So now you just figure out what to do next and how to make the next thing happen. You talk to God, like you said, and certainly I'm not saying don't write out a plan. I'm just saying don't be like don't be so married to the plan. I mean, don't be so married to the. Let's see what I'm trying to say. Because I really want you to be married to the result or the plan. Um, we all do want a certain result. I'm gonna say don't be married to either one of them. Don't be married to either one of them because life happens, things change, and Bree is not defined by any of her plans, right? You know, Bree is who Bree is, regardless. I'm if I'm Treasure's mom. I'm always going to be Treasure's mom. But Treasure's mom is not only that's not all I am. Like at the beginning of the day, I am Patricia Reed, right? Patricia Stotts Reed. And if God were to take anything or anybody away from me, I still gotta be Patricia Reed, right? And so you're gonna always be Bree. So I just don't want Bree to isolate herself or to limit herself from doing certain things. And I don't want Bree to think that you're already there, right? So I honestly do want you to stop throwing that perfect word around so much because, honey, if you already perfect, ain't nowhere for you to go, right? Yeah, you can't get no better than perfect, right? And most people don't want to be around perfect people, right? Because we all have flaws. We all have flaws. So you greatness. And what did I say? What I say all the time? You don't have to be perfect, but you can certainly be excellent. And I know that you are excellence. All right.